What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, let's look at Solana and let's see what's been going on over the last few days, as this thing has been making some pretty big moves. So in the last video, we were talking about what looked to be an inverse head and shoulders. Of course, you can see here on the 4 hourlies that this thing was clear as day, and we did get a nice little push off of it once we did get the breakout. I mean, we got a nice little move of, let's go ahead and call it let's go ahead and call it 13, 14, or 12 to 13%, which is always a good thing, but definitely not the move that I believe it could have been. And I think that we are getting implications that this move could possibly continue under certain circumstances, which I will cover in a second. But what we're seeing at this given point is that on the more macros, that things could be getting a little bit ugly. And now that we have this point of resistance above us, we definitely need to start making some moves rather quickly. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first and foremost go over the bullish scenario here and then the bearish scenario, and then I'll make sure that you're prepared for either one. So the bullish scenario in this example is that right now we are simply just getting a quick little ABC correction after a nice little 5-wave to the top side. Now, this doesn't follow Elliott's wave theory perfectly, but it does give us, a pretty good reference of it here. And as you can see, we did get our first wave, pull back to the second wave, push to the third wave, another pull back to the fourth, and then a move on your fifth wave, okay? Not much overlap, looking pretty decent. You can see we, of course, back tested a wave 4 on top of wave 1, all of the things you would like to see. Now, coming off of that 5-wave to the top side, it does seem as if we could possibly be getting some little, ABC correction back to the bottom side. Now, generally speaking, we will see if this uptrend will continue, that C wave will come somewhere back towards the 618 to 786 level. And so in this example, that does look like about $22 to $21. And so while we are still above $21, we are in a fantastic position to see Solana bounce back to the upside and look for a continuation after establishing a higher low here. So at this given point, this is just a general correction, okay? So what I want you to be on the watch out for is now we have structure, okay? Now we have clear as day some type of possible bullish flag, but really just consolidation / sideways structure right here. And so what I would be on the lookout for is, are we simply capable of breaking this high that we put in at $27, okay? At this given point, if we can come back down, establish this higher low and get the bounce back out of here, okay? Break out of what could be, again, this big bullish flag and clear the structure, I think we could be in fantastic position to see this thing make that move to $30 to $32 as we've been talking about over the last few weeks. And it all is going to come down to, at this point, establishing this higher low, possibly coming a little bit lower, establishing that higher low, and looking for continuation to the upside. Now, it will be incredibly important that we do get this move to the upside, because if not, the more macro is looking a little bit bearish at this given point if we turn off everything and just look at this from a general perspective. Generally speaking, this does look very much so like a possible double top forming, okay? Now, you guys know, with a double top, what you're always going to be on the lookout for is the breaking of this MLS. What this is, the MLS, or the mid-level of support. And so you're going to have a high, your MLS, and then another high. In the moment in which you break down below that MLS, you're usually in a big position to see some type of strong continuation to the downside. Remember, I'm under the belief that half of this year is going to be bullish, half of this year is going to be bearish. We've had a lot of bullishness, so we could enter into a little bit of a bearish phase here, and that may be something we need to prepare for, maybe some type of pullback, again, as low as $15 to $14 to retest some of these previous points of resistance, okay? That is very possible. So what you need to be on the lookout for is, do we establish that higher low? Do we get that move and that holding above $22, $23? As you remember, we had a bit of a cup and handle pattern forming right here, in which this was the cup line, okay? So coming back to back test that, which also aligns with that Fibonacci 618 to 786 zone, makes a lot of sense. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a pull back towards $22.35. But we need to hold it as support, and you need to be on the lookout for this breaking up here. Now, before we do go into the exact trades that I would be doing as either one of these scenarios does play out, I wanted to let you guys know something. Now, you know that I do a lot of trading on 1inch. We've seen a lot of stuff going on with Binance. We've seen a lot of stuff going on with just crypto in general, especially some of these centralized exchanges. And you all know that we've been running campaigns with 1inch for over a year now, right? Every now and then I'll give you different links that you can use to get rewards, and there is another set of rewards coming now as we do start a new campaign. So 1inch just introduced fusion mode. Now, I want to take a minute or two just to explain this to you, because it is actually pretty impressive. So if you've done any trading on 1inch, you can see here that there is a new option, which is fusion mode. So Fusion Mode is a major upgrade centered around the 1-inch swap engine, which is a unique combination of existing and new tech aiming to improve the profitability and security of swaps via 1-inch. Now, their co-founder says that this is a huge step forward for the entire DeFi space. Fusion makes swaps on 1-inch dramatically more cost efficient, as users won't have to pay network fees, plus an extra layer of security is added, which protects users from sandwich attacks. Their aim is to make users' DeFi experience as smooth as never before, and thanks to 1-inch swap engine in Fusion Mode, now everyone gets incredible user experience with a high degree of security. Now, there are a couple ways in which you can take advantage of this. As you can see here, whenever you go to swap, you press on Fusion, and it is going to give you auto, fast, fair, and auction. And these are different methods in which you can approach trading to try to get the best value and to try to minimize being front run, or as we mentioned before, sandwich attacks. Now, another thing that this does protect you from is an MEV. Now, many people don't even realize that they've been a victim of MEVs because it's usually not something that is major, but it does cost you and benefit someone who is doing something a little bit scandalous. Okay, so when making swaps on decentralized exchanges, users can potentially become victims of strategies for maximum extractable value. That could lead to substantial losses of users' funds, and in 2022 alone, DEX users lost the equivalent of over $800 million to sandwich attacks, which is the most common form of an MEV. In Fusion Mode, professional traders who fill users' orders use the most sophisticated and efficient ways of protecting users from MEV, so users simply just don't have to worry about it. This is going to be something that will continue to develop, of course. All of the mistakes we have seen made within DeFi are going to be corrected, and as they are corrected, we need to take advantage of that. As you can see here, many people are already using Fusion Mode because of these benefits. Over $2 billion in total volume. We can see over 4,000 orders just in the last 24 hours, when over 200,000 total orders, simply because this is the better way to trade, at least in my opinion. And so if you do want to try out Fusion Mode, if you do believe it could be beneficial to you, make sure you do use that link in the description down below. They are a partner of the channel. We've run multiple campaigns with them at this point, and we will continue to do so as long as you guys continue to enjoy that partnership. But with that said, we're back here on my crazy chart for Solana, and let me wrap this up by telling you exactly how I would be going about this at this point. Well, overall, the way I look at this thing realistically is that we are in a little bit of a interesting situation. Okay, would I be doing a lot of buying right here? I wouldn't necessarily not be buying. I'm still going to dollar cost average as per usual, but what I will say is that setting some type of stop loss possibly below $21 or $21.75 wouldn't be a terrible idea. If we start to venture too low below that $21.75 level, we're really then relying that we're going to bounce back off of this previous point of support or this descending level of support, and that's a pretty big risk. I would definitely be setting a stop loss below this I'd say about $19 level, really, because if we come back down below this previous point of support right here, we're 100% in position to see some type of strong capitulation, and that does also put us below this MLS, which will then signal this double top to really continue to the downside. Okay, so if I'm buying in this zone expecting that some type of move is coming, I'm definitely setting a stop loss 100% below that $19 level. Now, at what point would I really be more bullish and expect a real big trade to come? And that's the point in which we're able to break this. If we're capable of breaking ascending resistance, looking at about $28 right now, I do believe that would be the point in time in which we are looking good for some type of larger continuation towards $32 to retest some of these previous points of resistance. And at that point, I do believe another long trade wouldn't be a terrible idea whatsoever. So again, I don't necessarily think buying right now is a bad idea while we are in this sideways trade, but I absolutely would be setting a stop loss because some type of capitulation could be on the way over the next few weeks before we do look to set that more macro higher low and then continue in the long term. Okay, so that's the way in which I would be going about it. I personally am not shorting this market right now. I've learned my lesson. Once markets start to shift, trying to fight that shift is something that is extremely dangerous, and I have no reason to believe that everything is about to just crash another 50%. And so with that said, I'm just going to simply be doing some dollar cost averaging and some long trading, of course, depending on if we are capable of breaking through that topside resistance. So overall, I hope you guys do enjoy these quick updates on Solana, and if you do, make sure you do leave a like in the description below. I will be including even more technical analysis on Solana in my free newsletter that is in the description below. That does also feature market analysis, news, upcoming cryptos, my technical analysis, my general thoughts, and much more. And as I mentioned before, it is completely for free. It is the first link in the description. But I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all next time. Peace.